Do you hear me?
Scrolling headlines, futures for sale, buzzwords flashing, venture tales. Every keynote says we're late, but who's translating hype to fate? They say the bots are taking seats, replacing minds with lines of code, but no one maps the stepping stones from campus hallways to upload. Boot camps packed, resume as thin, chasing trends they barely know. Learn to prompt and you'll be rich. Nobody shows the workflow. I've seen dreams in common threads, promises dressed in polished slides. Yet the gap between the talk and real career stays open wide. So where's the bridge from spark to skill, from trending tags to paychecks? AI-rrivederci promises, we're done with fantasy. No more silver bullet mints and glossy prophecy. We're building ladders rung by rung, from curiosity to mastery. Turn the noise to strategy, make the future something we can actually be. Turn the talk into the proud. Panels preaching disruption, yet internships are rare. Degrees feel disconnected from the tools we're told to share. Cloud dashboards, data streams, APIs and model stacks. But who explains the entry points for those outside the hack? 1,000 reels of overnight wins, but no one films the grind. Debug nights and study sprints, certification signed. It's not about replacing souls, it's skill alignment, role by role. Translate theory into practice, close the academic hole. We need mentors in the loop, not just slogans in the room. AI-rrivederci promises, we're done with fantasy. No more silver bullet mints and glossy prophecy. We're building ladders rung by rung, from curiosity to mastery. Turn the noise to strategy, make the future something we can actually be.
What if the stage became a roadmap? What if panels turned to plans? What if students left with action, not just branded lanyards in their hands?
An open door, a working floor, a space where theory meets demand. Not hype, but guided practice with a future we understand. Ask the questions others dodge, map the routes they never show. From foundational knowledge to the jobs where you can grow. Cert paths, project reps, hands-on labs and peer review. Break the myth of instant fame, skill is built by what you do. No more waiting on the savior code, no more chasing paper dreams. We connect the dots in daylight, not just filtered social streams. From event halls to offer calls, from workshop notes to teams. That's how revolutions happen, through a line ecosystem. AI-rrivederci promises, goodbye illusion glow. We're drafting blueprints for careers, not just demos for a show. Bridge the gap, step by step with mentors, maps and clarity. Turn the noise to strategy, build a future as a shared reality. Not goodbye to innovation, just farewell to empty claims. We're designing real transitions, giving talent actual lanes. AI-rrivederci promises, we rise beyond the noise. From curiosity to capability, that's how tomorrow deploy.
Awesome, really. Oh, Always
We
the
are
same.
back. Wow, with about a 2 month hiatus here at the Day 365 show, we have time to replenish our mental energy and yearning for nerdy CRM conversations. 1 year has gone by, sort of. Multiple new agents and agentic features have arrived. So where do we go now, our sweet children of mine?
Hi. Yeah, thanks, Angeliki. So today's topic is equally existential. AI was promised as a career accelerator, a productivity multiplier, and a force for better work. Yet in practice, we have seen some AI deployments, even in the CRM space, my space, seem disconnected from the promise by cost-cutting roles and displacing employee value propositions. Today, we will explore A, why that disconnect exists in leadership and product decisions in the AI area. 2, where to-do tech specialists and leaders envision their professional future. And 3rd, what we can do to bridge the gap with meaningful action and impact.
Wow, Fortunato, that is a lot to unpack there, especially after last time where you saw us untangle the $1 million question about whether CRM is evolving or evolving in the era of AI. Today's topic will be no less philosophical or nerdy as we wonder whether we can challenge the tech ecosystem to stop underusing AI where it matters most. My name is Angeliki Patsiavou. I'm a Microsoft Business Applications MVP in the UK, as well as a Senior Dynamics 365 Manager. I've been a professional and community CRM geek for over a decade with a lot of passion and appreciation for the human impact our business solutions can have. I'm one of your hosts, and sitting next to me on my virtual side is...
Fortunato, or simply 42 or 42, as you can see. I'm also, the name is real, by the way. So I'm sitting here in Germany over here. I've worked for several years as a classical developer. I'm also a consultant in the Dynamics 365 CRM specific area, also CRM geek to some extent, and also over a decade starting with 2016 on-premise version. Those times have gone to some extent. I also have a lot of passion for those topics, also low-code, no-code related topics, and also to some extent AI. And I'm very happy to be here today with wonderful guys. And those are the two giants that will mark our second episode. So on the one hand, we have Jonas Rapp, besides Microsoft MVP, legendary creator of the Fetch XML builder tool, which I use regularly, by the way. Thank you for that. I always wanted to say how much I appreciate your work. Among the 15 others, and tech lead Power Platform at CRMK in Sweden.
Ooh,
Yeah.
welcome. On the
It's
other
me.
hand, we have... Oh, sorry.
No, go on. Is that
We were-
someone else? Yeah.
That's all you get, Jonas. That's all you get as an intro. Sorry.
Oh, no, we have plenty of time. But just a quick one. On the other hand, we have Joseph Griffin, another Business Mike's MVP straight from the UK. Joe is a VO and CR Pro Max UK. And just in case you were not aware what that stands, that's Vibe Engineering Officer. So welcome both. We're delighted to have you. So please do tell us a bit more about yourselves and we won't interrupt you.
Okay. I have to start with, I'm sorry. I have to ask you for two, because I don't think we've done things together before. So when I saw your name, it's like Furtano di Donato or something like that. Sounds like it's Donna Sarkar who has created this bot who's doing things for you. It sounds like a happy Donna something. Your name says that, but it's actually a real person behind the screen there. That's awesome.
It is. I'm checking myself regularly, and I'm really a real person. But the name basically means the lucky guy, so Fortunato, having luck, and the next one to some extent has the word donor into it. So yes, that's it basically.
So you are right. His bot instead. Okay, now I know. Well, if you want any background to me, I thought you asked for that, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been a developer. I can't say my whole life, but since I was grown up or so. So since 90 sometime, and in 2009, no, '09, I started with Dynamics area and went into the Microsoft area and so on. And well, I like to stay to be just a developer since I mean they want me to improve my career, be a boss or something, or project manager. I just hate that. I always try to stay to be just a slave doing my things that is fun. So I'm trying to stay down there. And I think it's working well, good enough so far. And I know this is going to be talking a lot about AI. And I said, why am I in this recording this session? I'm like a anti person regarding AI, but during the last year, I needed it, or I actually wanted to get what the is it with AI, and then doing it, not just using it, which is boring, since I want to know how it's working and so on, which is I've done a bit of, and well, I still have my own opinions about it. I think that's all.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Great.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, Joe.
Yeah. So I'm Joe Griffin, as mentioned. So if Jonas is a slave, then I guess I'm Spartacus, because I actually broke free and I'm now evil management sort of practice lead type sort of person. So yeah, in my role, I sort of run our UK practice with Promex is a bigger partner based in Germany. So my role at the moment is around leading the practice, but also advising customers around some of the newer initiatives, things like AI and stuff like that. So at the moment, using AI on a daily basis for a variety of different things. So Copilot for content generation, GitHub Copilot for code generation, because I'm never going to be as good as a developer as Jonas, so I might as well just let these large language models do it for me. And as well, doing a lot of training, a lot of talking about artificial intelligence. I guess the big question, which we can maybe get into in the show today, is okay, how's that translated into actual things that are in production yet? And this is maybe the big question mark that we have at the moment. But certainly, there's lots of really interesting things happening in this space at the moment. A lot of potential. Kind of feels like maybe we're in the dial-up phase of AI still, perhaps. But we are very rapidly moving to a place where it's going to be like essential. In all our lives.
100%. And just as background for those who are listening, the concept of this episode started with both of our guests, actually. They inspired us to create this topic because Jonas had posted something very interesting where he was reflecting about where his career will go. Where will it be in 5 or 10 years? And what does this mean? Because when it comes to either having a CRM career, being in the consulting space, it's not just about observing where the tech is going, but what it also means for our professional development. And especially being in the era of vibe engineering officers, dare I say, Joe, there's a lot to unpack.
It's a good title.
It is a good title. And I think it would be really interesting for us to unpack it a little bit with you. So I'd love to start with one question. So when AI first entered in daily conversations, around the 2022, 2023 era, what career transformations were you imagining?
I think for me, it's just around, that whole sort of, do more with less type thing, in terms of just maybe making lives a bit more sort of easier, being able to sort of, generate things without having to spend, hours and hours in terms of sort of doing it and things like that. I think as well the potential in terms of to learn new skills to help you better work with AI. So, whereas people who are as old as me in the core remember when we were first applying for jobs, it always used to be, okay, must have knowledge of how to use Microsoft Word, must have knowledge to work with Microsoft Outlook, all that sort of stuff. I can very much see that, in the next sort of year or so, it's going to be, okay, must have knowledge of how to prompt against Claude, Anthropic models, whatever, must have knowledge of how to build good system prompts. So we're going to see a bit of an evolution there in terms of, the skills that I guess the next generation need to succeed. And this is going to be the challenge in terms of making sure we can equip them with all of the foundational knowledge so they can get the most out of these large language models without sort of messing things up, being in that sort of situation where it's just like, oh, I created an app, it deleted all the production database, oops. we don't want any of that happening.
And it's a Friday.
It's a Friday, yeah. This is for the weekend. Yeah, press a button. Yeah, I'm off. Bye bye.
What about you, Jonas? What did you start imagining when AI started becoming a daily part?
I think I come back to I'm an old man. What I think I'm 35 years in my soul, but otherwise, it feel like I'm old, grumpy guy. Because I was thinking like, okay, AI. I mean, everything is one and zeros, which I love that. I know there are a few if and else, or a gazillion if and else clauses. Sort of that there's nothing magic in it. It's just that someone wrote the code who will sort of search through the Google or whatever, so it knows things. Knows is a kind of bad thing to say. It just knows the words here and there and sort of put them together. So it's like, how can we actually use this efficiently for us? And to me, it seems like it's impossible. But it's like when I started only last year, I was starting to use it as well. I started using it through GitHub Copilot within the Visual Studio, which means at the beginning, I didn't even have a conversation with the AI, but just said, okay, they flipped it on, and then I get suggest in my code. It's very techy code. I write 1 line, 2 lines, and then the 3rd line, it recommends this line. It's like, oof, how the hell did it know how I was thinking about it? What will I do the next? And it's simple logic because of these 3 things will show the AI that, okay, and the 4th thing I will do is this, probably. Sometimes it's wrong, of course, and then I get annoyed at it. But usually it's right. And in that case, I like it. I like that my development is being done faster now because I don't have to click the keyboard so much as I usually do.
That's the point.
And I've also started even more recently, starting to use it, actually having a conversation with it. And in that case, I think it's really good for me that I can learn new things. Technically, when I'm writing the code, which I like to do that, I'm not a vibing person because that would then I have no idea what's behind this app or what do we do. So I really like to sort of learn stuff. So I'm using it most to learn. So it's like if I don't know how to set up an Azure function in this or that way, then I can sort of have this conversation with the AI that will help me. Okay, you do this, do that, da da da. And it can suggest, okay, this is the code you should do. You can just accept it or deny it. But it's a learning thing. And that's what can actually mean something, that we learn stuff. I know the AI, generally it tells us that you don't need to know anything. Just talk to ChatGPT or whoever, then you just ignore everything. Why do we have schools? The schools should just tell us how to learn, how to prompt to the AI. And that's scary with that direction.
This is where I have to agree here. We talked in recently, since 2025 especially, we were talking about the so-called brain rot, where people basically by using AI seem to lose some of their cognitive abilities, which is partially true. But I think the main problem is that people start to stop critical thinking. That's the highest risk that I see. And because people, the problem is that let me say it this way, I strongly believe in the law of emergence, meaning that according to which small things individually add up to something that is larger, more complex, and more unpredictable than the individual parts that we see. And so it seems magic, but basically it's all about algorithm and possibilities. Okay, so if you know this and don't take it as a truth multiplier, but more like a partner, sparrings partner for coding, a sparrings partner for a vector to do more critical thinking, it allows us to speed up things and move faster ahead, but it doesn't substitute us as companies try to suggest to some extent. This is where I strongly agree with you. It can be beneficial, but I think it's always good to be critical.
I think when we look at these big technological changes, and to maybe address one of the questions in the chat in terms of like, is this going to affect, unemployment rates? What's this going to create from a job impact standpoint? Well, you go back to like, the early 1900s in terms of like, okay, everyone was having to use horses to get around everywhere, to push carts and stuff like that. Then you had the automobile that sort of came in. So the automobile sort of then solved some problems there in terms of our streets, maybe not smelling so bad in terms of the manure. Then we get new problems there, new things that we need to sort of address. We need to have gas stations, we need to have parking areas, we need to basically, put asphalt across our front yard to park these sort of cars. So it's new technologies and new sort of problems, and people, I think, will just naturally need to kind of evolve to that. And the thing that we need to do is identify the opportunities that new technology can give us and to embrace it. Don't be sort of the Luddites back in the 19th century going into the cotton mills, destroying all the technology. See how we can get this into our lives, see how we can get involved, how we can upskill ourselves, and move forward with all of that.
Joe, you made a very interesting point there. So what do you think will be the new leadership or consulting roles that will emerge because of AI?
Well, there's talks today. I think there was a report from Microsoft in terms of saying, okay, well, they imagine that most white collar sort of roles and capacities could be done by AI, now and in over the next sort of 18 months. So granted, there are perhaps maybe some human issues there that perhaps maybe we can get rid of. Thinking maybe in terms of like, okay, the CEO getting caught in a compromising way with the HR director at a Coldplay concert. Those type of scenarios. That's not going to happen with an AI agent, is it? But so that's one problem perhaps it can sort of address. But you're still going to have that sort of critical thinking, that human element as part of that. We don't want to be a situation where, okay, an agent just one day sort of says to us, oh yeah, sorry, our company is completely bankrupt. This is a catastrophic failure. Let me know if you'd like me to draft an email to all of your suppliers and vendors to tell them. It's not going to work like that. So there's going to have to be some sort of balance here in terms of, okay, technology can get us so far. We need to keep that human element kind of involved as part of that. And the more that we can sort of do that, I think that the more we'll be able to sort of get around all of this. The internet is an ubiquitous part of our lives today. We're hopefully not on it 24/7. Saying that, we're on this StreamYard thing at the moment, so I guess that proves the point. But hopefully we do still go out, we go for a walk, we talk to people and stuff like that. AI use will be kind of similar in that regard, I would say.
And this is, you mentioned something very important here. This is what we never have to forget. At the end, we are creating products for real humans at the end, and real humans do not behave predictably as we want to have. This is the same problem when developing cars that could, to some extent, do full self-driving, at least how propagated. There are always humans on the street, and they do not perhaps behave like it's predicted by any means, by any algorithms, and this can cause problems. And so the goal is not to substitute everyone on the street, because there will be always the guy that at the end wants to drive the car on its own, but to extend, to attach, to complement. This is my approach, or this what we need to do at the end. Otherwise, it will crash. We see this with different companies that have learned the hard way that a non-empathic AI basically causes more problems than solving. Right? We see this with Klarna, and we see this with drive-in agents and such and so on. It was really funny anecdotes, but would be much more. Jonas, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, regarding the leadership and the CEO and the other CE or CX. I mean, what they are doing is mostly I'm sorry, Joe, I'm saying this for you.
That's fine.
It's like
I'm management. I can take it. It's fine.
Okay, good. I mean,
this is gonna be funny.
The CEO want to make sure that this company will thrive, that will make money, make more money. We will recruit more people and stuff. So, but it's basically very much 1 and 0, not just 1 or 0, just not white or black. But there is math behind it. AI, go do that instead. But the fun thing, what we really like to do, that's when we are creators, that we creators for tools, for applications, for whatever we want to use, create nice, cool stuff for the users, for myself, and for other people. That's the fun of the work. Just doing it, make sure we make enough money. Yeah, if we don't sell this product and enough, well, ditch it and create another one. And so that's math, and you could do that. But I mean, having that, removing the human part of developing stuff, then it will be okay. Some funny AI pictures are funny to see, but it doesn't give anything. So it will be very much 1.0, these apps that the AI is creating, the vibe code instead. But I mean, we are persons, we're human beings. So when we create things, when we are creators, then we have no limits of it. The AI has a box where you have to live within that box. In that case, so AI, do all leaderships and let us here, us slaves, to build cool things.
The core issue here at this point is that when it comes to replicate stuff by any means, then AI is, with the logic behind it, by recognizing and using patterns, very strong and very fast, and which is perfectly fine and useful in that. And this is where it can enrich perhaps coding or help with refining some pictures or stuff. However, it doesn't, from my perspective, it doesn't create something completely out of the box, something new, something that has not existed before, because the path, the frontiers are defined, right? You cannot think outside the box. You can perhaps find something new, but this in some cases may work, but in some cases we call this hallucinations, where we basically say, okay, there is something that is completely made up. But the problem is here, if humans by any means in the loop are using this tool, are using the result sets, and the way how the AI answers you, it seems that is perfectly right, but it isn't, and you accept it because 9 out of 10 cases it was right, the 10th one isn't, and perhaps this is a critical area, then we crash, totally crash, and this can cause problems. And this is the risk that I see at the moment. We cannot substitute AI on any level, even not on management level, where the situation of critical thinking, especially when working with other humans, needs an empathic behavior and empathic thinking, and an EQ, not an IQ, and an emotional quotient of intelligence, right? How do I say it?
Yeah. I mean, critical
I mean,
thinking,
coding is
that's
just one
sort of
scenario where
the
AI can
key.
deliver some sort of value.
That's a very interesting point.
go
They're
ahead, Jess.
talking about money. Oh, please, Dion, say.
No, the critical thinking, that's like the key for this. We need to be thinking about that. It's like, but sometimes it's, I mean, the AI, if we call it just AI, is that okay if I don't say like Copilot or whatever? The AI, the robot.
Yeah.
Like today, when I was just playing with it, I wanted an image to put into my blog post, so it sort of looks like what I do. And then I send them some pictures from my computer to the cloud or wherever. And so it's something from this, blah, blah, a big picture on me, I sent to them. And I got one back, and it had a Swedish flag on it. I was like, nah, nice, but we don't need a Swedish flag. Everyone knows I'm from Sweden. So remove that. And he said, okay, I'll remove the flag. And then I got one with 2 flags instead. I was like, okay.
Very
do you know
proud.
what plus minus is that plus or whatever? So in that case, okay, we need to be really careful about trusting the bot, and that's, to me, it's very annoying. Then, will I ever trust that? Leaderships, the stakeholders, why should they trust it?
And that's the problem. You have seen now, and that's the point. You know what you want, and you have seen on the picture directly the issue, right? But what if you don't see it? The AI was already used by a great print manufacturer. I don't want to say the name here for purposes, that substituted various numbers and letters on the scanned documents by other letters, and that because the pattern matches recognized it as the same one. But then you see architectural plans and such where suddenly rooms of different sizes have exactly the same sizes. And if you do this on a mass level, you are basically, how do I say it politely, screwed, because perhaps you don't have the original document anymore. And on the other side, you have those wrong numbers. So you always need someone to recheck it. And this is where I say it's a good tool that assists you and helps you, but will not substitute you. Not yet. I don't think so fast.
We talked
Can
a
I
lot
ask
about
a
different
question to all
business.
of you? Sorry, go on, Joe.
Just going to say, so we talked a lot about business scenarios here, which are important from one perspective, but we've already seen some pretty good examples, like for example in healthcare, in terms of you feed this stuff, you feed, let's say, some some X-rays, some MRI scans, whatever, into these large language models. They can identify early stages of cancer, early stages of diseases far faster than a human, and that's got to be more important than any of all of this. So but we're not replacing the doctor there. We're just giving the doctor a tool to be able to go and find the issue faster so that we can take the urgent action that's needed there. So this augmentation kind of capability, there's been some chat some chatter in the LinkedIn chat about all of that. This is the key thing here. It's going to be there as an augmentation capability.
Yes.
I totally
Absolutely.
agree about that, and that's like I can recognize that, because when I'm developing, it can make my development faster and probably more correct and so on in that case. But I have a question for all of you. Have you ever created some app by some AI, like vibe coding or whatever it's called, and you've even done it, you trust it and you have validated it and gone to production, using it in production, or
No.
just playing with it? And
there's been some modification. There's been, okay, it gets me a certain step. Oh, build error. Right, okay, where's the problem? Oh, it's done that there. Fix that error there. Okay, another build error. Okay, right, it's using a deprecated library. There'd be like a bit of a step-by-step process that I have to go through, a bit of a review that I have to sort of say, okay, is this actually generating stuff that's valid? Is this actually generating stuff that's going to be useful in terms of the current context of what I'm working? For example, I've been using GitHub Copilot to help me with Azure Functions, migrating into the isolated process host. Very boring, very technically complex, but the key thing is that some of these, because it's so new, these large language models, because they've not got the training data there, struggle to be able to sort of go, oh, you're building it this way. Okay. So it's this kind of thing. It's only going to be as good as the underlying data set, the underlying training data that's been used there. And if the training data is rubbish, then well, the old saying, rubbish in, rubbish out.
I think it's kind of hard. We need to learn, what should we trust? Well, we have to trust something at some point or level. Like I don't trust the C# code I get. So I write my C# code, and I trust going from C# to assembler, and assembler is at the bottom for everything anyway. So and I trust that. So there's a level with how much do we trust. And if the vibe coder, it's actually okay. Now it's been in GA for 10 years. We trust it, and then we don't really need to go in and check the code behind it on any level.
Can I ask a philosophical question on your way on this question? So let me provide a different perspective. If it was an AI and you were just peer programming with another colleague, is it a matter of trust or just following due process? So the way I personally see it is that, whatever AI tool is another peer programmer, whether it's, AI or human, it's still someone doing something with you. And it's only fair that as part of a due process, there's a peer-to-peer check. And you have a process for looking into that. Now, I come from a marketing background where it doesn't matter who's doing what. You cannot press send until another person has reviewed it. So is it a matter of trust or just appreciating that no matter who's building it, whether it's AI or another person, you should still have a process, because that's only the right thing to do. And sometimes maybe technically the app is fine, but it doesn't have the right context because you wanted a specific application for healthcare, but the data is just, test data about Contosa. Or maybe it's not understanding the specific process of the user because it looks at what a big pharma does instead of a small healthcare provider. So sometimes it's about shifting our mindset, because the trust element is a fair point, but at the same time, there's no perfect human either. It's about what processes do we have, and yes, the dreaded word governance, to say that instead of trying to have this negative connotation about trust, is about saying, okay, as you said, augmentation, efficiency, and all of that to a certain extent, and after that, where do we provide the right guardrails so that we can still thrive?
But this is where I have to jump in, because basically it's not a negative a trust issue with AI in general. It's how it's marketed on the other side. If you market this as substitution for people, which some companies have clearly done, then we have this issue, because it's like, again, coming back to full self-driving, either I have a tool that I can fully trust or not. If you use it as a co-pilot, and this is why I like the name so much, as a sparringspartner for developing, then it's good. Because then you can use it for, please check it for security issues. Do you see something that I perhaps don't do? Or can you take a look? Can we remove some redundancy in the code or something like that? Then it's good. If you say, oh, look, I have an idea for building a house and I trust AI, and then later I realize, some parts of my rooftop are missing, then this is an issue. This is what I mean by this. So I agree. It depends on how you use it and market it. Yes.
A lot of times with AI, it kind of feels very much like, okay, you've got this like sort of god tier sort of apprentice or intern sort of there, really passionate, running around, absolute genius, all that sort of stuff. But sometimes you have to just sort of, okay, just calm down. Okay, yes, okay, you've done all this sort of stuff, but if you send this out, then we're going to be, we're going to be sued. There's going to be some regulatory sort of concerns and stuff like that. So, the concept there in terms of that pair sort of programming, in terms of just having that human involvement there is going to be so essential, because you wouldn't give an intern access to your production database day one and expect them to sort of go and do all that sort of stuff. Chances are they're going to drop a table, they're going to break something. It's just not same practice, and we have to, I guess, treat AI in the same sort of vein.
Joe, can I probe further on that? So how have you changed, either you or Jonas, how you mentor or develop junior talent because of AI?
I have very recently asked or answered to, I got 5 questions from a guy from the Power Platform community in Serbia, who wanted to have 5 questions about how would you handle with the junior developers. And regarding the AI, I say that you need to learn it, you need to understand it, and the most important, I think, is don't learn how to use it, learn how it works. I think that's the important thing. Then you can use it, or you can include it in what your apps that you're creating and so on. But the important is to know how it's actually working. And just to have sorting, you don't have to know all the details, but just to have a rough feeling of how. I would say like the 80% of the people, it's like, whoa, ChatGPT is awesome. And it's like, okay, how does it do it? No idea, but it's great. Woo! And if we're losing some sort of even a think that we have some type of control of what we're doing, then we're just giving up.
And we never should give up.
Well, I'm soon retired. Then I can give up.
But what I find also interesting is that when we look at AI adoption, there seems to be a lot of cases of people often starting with the junior or more operational roles rather than executive roles. So it does make me wonder, is there some kind of unspoken belief that leadership is inherently unautomatable?
I guess it's just, it's always going to be the case that the young uns, as I have to refer to them now because I'm probably getting into the old category myself, they're always going to be a bit more sort of up to date with the technology, building, the latest sort of apps using like, Rust or Golang or whatever, Blazor web apps, all that sort of cool stuff, which I'm still trying to figure out. So, it's going to be a case that they're going to jump to this a lot sort of faster. But then I think, as we've alluded to already, the danger is, okay, they're using this, they don't understand what they're building. They don't understand that they've built an app that's got a SQL injection issue. They don't understand they built an app where somebody can go and get backdoor access and basically just, go and leak all the data out. So it's about sort of just, okay, calm down, back to the fundamentals. They're still important. Learn all that first. And the end result will be you get much more out of it, much more out in terms of the outputs, much more out in terms of the quality of the work. It's like a business requirement. You give a poor business requirement out, you're going to expect something really poor back. But if you spend the time up front to actually go and work through step by step, explain what you are trying to sort of achieve, then that pays off in the long run.
Which is fair, but what about the roles themselves? I've seen that the starting point is always how you can automate part of the more junior roles rather than the senior leadership roles. So is there some kind of unspoken, indirect belief that senior roles themselves are inherently unautomatable, if that's even a word?
Well, I guess if we look at this sort of openly and honestly, the junior roles are going to be easier in terms of automation. They're kind of maybe lower lower complexity, lower sort of don't require as much sort of critical thinking sort of achieve. So they're always going to be the low hanging fruit in any organization. As you go further up the chain, as you go further up the salary brackets and the pay packets and all that sort of stuff, you know, would you as a CEO want to give your job over to an AI and lose your, you know, 6-figure salary and your flash car and all that sort of stuff?
I wouldn't know, Joe. Maybe you should tell us.
I have none of those, by the way. Just to say, I have none of those. So, you know.
Honestly,
To be fair.
the only one that can basically decide about whether CEOs can be replaced are the guys in a publicly noted company, for example, one of the first 10 Nasdaq noted companies. They can basically say from one day to another, we can replace you with an AI, or it would make more sense. On the other way, they won't do it because, and this is something I came to think about recently, I think that you always want a human to blame. You always want someone to to say you are in fault. Talking to an AI is not bringing that satisfaction, I think. And that's the point. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen.
But there has been an example in the UK very recently. I think one of the police commissioners over here had to submit a formal apology to a committee because they had basically used Copilot and it generated like wrong information and all that sort of stuff. So already we're starting to see a degree of scapegoating sort of going on. You know, okay, the AI, oh, not my fault. AI just said it was like that. You know, so and I wonder just whether this trend will continue.
Yeah, not about that customer. So, but do you have an agreement that you are using Copilot to do it? And yes, so we know it may work. But or do you have this agreement with the customer? I'm just curious how you're working like that.
I don't know. Well, it could be interesting scenarios. You know, in a situation where customers unhappy with an agent output, okay, how do we deal with that? Okay, an agent basically didn't give a good response. How do you handle that as a complaint? You know, you can't exactly just go and, you know, do a performance review of the agent. You're gonna have to just tinker around with it and all this sort of stuff. So, you know, it's gonna be interesting in terms of how this kind of sort of evolves in terms of you know, how we can sort of manage that. And I think really the temptation will be to move more towards a sort of situation where, okay, you know, you're valuable as a customer, as a person when you're speaking to me. If you're speaking to my agent, if you're speaking to some form of AI, you're not important to me. Human time, this interaction here, for example, becomes the critical currency.
Yeah.
I see. And let me ask you another question. If we were to shift to a forward-looking view, is there, like, how would you view your role in 5 to 10 years? Because ultimately, you know, that's one of the reflections that Jonas was having on LinkedIn as well that prompted us to have. So if we as leaders, you know, tech leaders, senior leaders, get AI adoption right, how do you all see your careers being different in 5 or 10 years? Where would you see that?
I think it's hard enough to think about 5 to 10 weeks ago in the future, where you have no idea. No, but I think, I mean, from my perspective, with what I'm doing, what I like to do, and okay, now I'm a grumpy old guy again, but it sounds like I won't be a creator. I will be a janitor, cleaner, not physically, but in the code, to make sure that since we don't write code, someone else is doing it, and sometimes it fucks up, and then I have to fix it, go clean it up, and so on. So it's like, and I can't be part of the creator thing, which I love also. So it's like I missed the party. The AI bots had the party, and I find them the day after, sort of kind of, okay, I'll get a taxi for you, wake up, you're so hangover, and so like, then I have to just do the crappy stuff. But of course, I hope there is some more bright future, but I can't really grasp it yet.
I guess
is
we
there
have
a wish list? Sorry, I was just going to say for both of you, is there a wish list then of what you would like to at least see for yourself?
I think for a large extent, time back to some previous themes, you know, we're not going to see a situation where, as we say, turkey's voting for Christmas. You know, person in my sort of role, executive sort of role, you know, why would I want to forego what I have in terms of being able to, at a human level, why would I want to forego that and replace that with a sort of an AI? So there'll be some sort of compromise sort of position around all of that, so that, okay, AI is playing a bit of a role there. It's contributing, but we're not really sort of replacing things sort of too much, because I think the potential societal impact of all of that and is going to be too sort of big. And again, we look at precedent, we look at history. Okay, yes, we've got cars. It means that we can get to places a lot more easier, but we can still walk, we can still cycle. But there's still other things in terms of how we can sort of do that. So it's never going to be just a complete 100%. Right, this is it now. We're doing all of this. We're going to have to. There's going to be like some sort of middle ground.
I perhaps want to add, because something is stuck in my mind that Jonas said about assembler procedural development and such, because I see this involvement in the abstraction layer as well, coming from assembler procedural object-oriented programming. Then there was some kind of rapid development. I don't know whether anyone from you has heard about the development language called Clarion, which was a software for rapid development and such. And everyone said, okay, now we will substitute developers. Now we will come to it. And we always found out that the problem is not the software. The problem is not even the abstraction layer. The problem are the humans on the other side, which have problems sometimes to translate what they want and how they want. And it was the human on the other side that needed to translate it. So I think that we will still need the human in the loop also in the future. It will still be needed, but the people that are now on the market will be used in a different way, more in a way to understand what the customers want, and it will extend, and using the AI will help them to get faster, but it will not substitute them.
Yeah, so going back to the previous example, rather than somebody having to go around clean up all that nice, lovely horse manure from the sort of pavements, instead maybe then helping to sort of, in the early days of automobiles, helping to sort of, put petrol into cars and clean up and all that sort of stuff. That's hopefully a slightly better job than going around and picking up all that lovely horse muck from the from the pavement. So that's what we need to be focused on in terms of the human aspect, in terms of, okay, how can we improve careers? How can we improve lives as a consequence of this technology?
Absolutely.
So if we bring it to the present, what would you all advise would be that one skill, one AI skill or product people need to start picking up today? What would your advice be based on what you've seen so far?
Prompt
if
writing.
You had to choose one. Okay. Jonas?
Has to be prompt writing.
Joe, are you clipping?
No, please go ahead.
Learn it. Understand how it's working. And that's probably boring for most people. We just want to do it. So cool, it can do so. It can sort of fix my response to the email and so on. I've seen there's been a lot about, the CEOs are sort of giving to your colleagues of her, I can't say names, but it's my wife. She's got the licenses for both ChatGPT and Copilot, because use everything you can to everything and see which is best and use it for everything. She's like, yeah, and a few times it's useful, but like there's so much. We come back to the gap between the CEO saying this is cool, this new, we should use it. Yeah, but how? And that's hard. So I go back to, understand it, how it's working, and how it can actually, if you know how it's working, then you might be able to find how it can actually help me in my workday.
Yeah.
So we're nearing the end of our chat, and I was wanting for Fortunato to ask you a bit of a cheeky question, just a fun wrap up. If we had a live action movie and someone has to play Clippy, which actor or actress would you choose? I know, such a hard one.
I wouldn't play Clippy. I don't know. I don't think at the moment it would be a good idea to substitute me with Clippy. I wouldn't be that nice, because my answer would be, really, is it that hard? I would challenge the guys to. I'm a strong believer in giving the people the possibility to learn, right? To put them to the right direction instead of substituting. Because on the other way around, I know that in the 10th time I will be asked, and I don't provide the correct answer, I will be blamed for everything. So I say, it's your turn, it's your topic, I'm here, I can help you. Let me Google this for you, right? To say, but I'm not the guy that will help you and solve this issue for you. So I wouldn't be the nice Mr. Clippy.
But if you had to choose an actor and actress to play Clippy in a movie, who would it be? I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts.
I would say The Rock. This would be really funny.
Ooh, okay.
In my situation, given what I said, The Rock, okay? Come on.
Okay.
Do you have any problems?
How about you two?
Well, sorry, I'm 100% sure that Joe would do that excellently. I would love to do the movie.
What are you trying to say there, Jonas? Am I that annoying? Am I that annoying? Or
preparing to be someone else and so on? You can do it, and you can learn people's stuff. But you're awesome for it. Okay.
Well, I would say probably Chris Pratt, because only he can be as annoying as Clippy, I think.
That's a nice approach. But
yeah.
Perhaps I have a different view.
So apologies, Chris, if you're watching, or if you're a Chris Pratt fan, you can come and have words with me afterwards. But yeah, that's my choice.
I love how you're on a first name basis with him, Joe. Like that's pretty cool.
I didn't realize. Friend, he's a best friend.
I would say at this point rather Ryan Reynolds, or do you think it would be nice?
Ooh, Deadpool style.
Oh. Or TJ Miller. TJ Miller's quite annoying.
Not safe for work though.
No. We need safe for work. I think Chris Pratt could be considered safe for work given his Marvel connotations. So yeah,
it's nice.
Love it. Awesome.
Cool. So I think we reached the end, right? Well, we're really
we have
truly deep insights. Some of my brain partially went off. But it was an awesome ride. It's Friday evening. It's dark here over in East Germany. So it's late. It's very late. But thanks to Jonas and Joseph or Joe for joining us today as our guests, and Angelique for being my co-host, or basically the question asker in this case. And of course, a big thank to you, to our great listeners, especially. You are really great and make our geeky hearts smile, or nerdy hearts. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we have enjoyed discussing. Unfortunately, all good things come to an end.
Or do they? We would like to invite everyone online to join in. Keep sharing in the comments. What did you think about these topics? What are the biggest promises AI has delivered or missed so far? We will be signing off from the show for today and saying goodbye to our guests, but do keep an eye out, because the next episode we will be sharing the date for soon. And until then, enjoy your CRM as well as AI adventures and keep on rocking. Oh, and my favorite quote, thanks to Fortunato, AI-rrrivederci for now.
You learned, right? Arrivederci.
I have to. AI-rrrivederci.
AI-rrivederci, right, exactly. I like it.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. The music. We need the music.